Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports with Mono and Mono show. It's November 21st, 2020.
Yes,
Of course,
it is.
I'm here with my partner Steve, my brother.
Compadre, partner.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. There's so much going on and we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, there is.
So let's start with our Masters recap. 'Cause we talked
Again?
about it last week, and we both conceded that it was going to be Dustin Johnson's time, and it certainly was.
That's
They dominated, 20 under. They were killing this course.
Well, last week I said I feared a meltdown, and thank God that didn't happen. Dustin played extremely well, got to 20 under.
Everybody played well. They were killing the course.
It doesn't matter, but Dustin held everybody off and won by, 4 or 5 strokes. So
Cameron Smith coming in second, and
it couldn't have been happier.
Dustin Fratelli, or Dylan Fratelli.
Yeah.
Right? So they were killing the course.
Right, and
The 20 unders.
McIlroy was like 10 under. Patrick Reed was actually 9 under, 10 under, things like that. But Dustin Johnson played better than everybody, and I made the comment about the long green jacket that he donned after. But you talk about give me a 42 long.
And I thought I had a good one too. The headline in the Post should have been Masters and Johnson.
Yes, that's a good one.
Right?
But Tiger put the jacket on him.
He did.
That was pretty cool.
He did. He had an unprecedented 10, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it happens. He handled himself with class. It was great. Both Johnson and Woods putting the jacket on.
Tiger's got a big event this weekend. Him and his son Charlie are doing a father-son event.
Yep.
Yeah, Charlie's 11.
Used to be called the Father and Son Challenge, I believe. But they changed the name and sponsors.
I don't see Charlie appearing on the Mike Douglas show.
At age 7. Charlie's an old dinosaur. He's 11 already.
Right, what's he going to be on? Springer?
Judge Jerry.
Judge Hatchet?
Anyway, but congratulations to Johnson. The guy's phenomenal. He handled himself with class. It was great.
And it's just great for his
and he didn't pull a Greg Norman on.
Well,
at the
it's
Masters.
great for his resume. I mean, he's now a bona fide major champion.
Absolutely.
With the U.S. Open under his belt and a Masters.
I think
and
he's
again,
31?
the
32?
sky's the limit for him. I said a few weeks ago, I think Dustin Johnson's capable of winning 9 to 10 majors. I really do, especially in his 30s. He's in phenomenal shape. He's cleaned up his act. He's focused, and his talent is just off the charts.
And I want to say one thing, because the favorite kind of going in, everyone thought this Bryson DeChambeau, because he could hit it 500 yards, was going to easily win it, and he didn't. So you never know. We talked about it. It's the Masters. But a guy, for full disclosure, I picked Colin Morikawa. He finished 2 under.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty good at the Masters, but not when the guy who wins it shoots 20 under.
That's right.
So,
and I was leaning towards Justin Rose, and again,
he was what, 3, 4
But we've
under?
talked about it, tenfold. Meaning, there's just so many talented golfers out there.
It is
that
unprecedented.
it is. But it's great to watch. So it's awfully difficult. Back in the day, what would it be? I think I like the Golden Bear this weekend against Arnie and Lee Trevino and Gary Player. I mean, for the most part.
And we looked at it, the ceremonial first, tee shot, Jack.
And then,
he's looking 80 now.
And maybe a Tom Weiskopf sneaks in and wins a tournament here. Or that type of thing. So my point is,
you're right.
There's just so many talented.
But I'm gonna give some kudos because I really like this guy Scott Van Pelt on ESPN, and he hosts the Masters with Curtis Strange.
Yeah,
and we
I'm a
love
big
Curtis,
fan.
right?
I'm a
Two-time U.S. Open champ, never won the green jacket, but
no, those are the only 2 majors that Curtis won. But they're back to back.
And Andy North too. This guy is awesome.
Oh, Andy North,
and he's 2-time major winner at least, right?
US,
two Opens.
He's a U.S. Open guy too.
Yep.
But Andy North is very knowledgeable
Big
and
time.
you know.
Great coverage, though. Great coverage.
And then, of course, you have the stuffy Sir Nick Faldo.
Harrison Ford
Oh,
lookalike.
totally. But, I'm obviously respect Nick Faldo. He was fantastic.
You can't
golfer.
deny his record. He's
But-
got 6 majors, 2
I
jackets.
do, but
you know.
I'm a little tired of Sir Nick.
Well, he's
I
come up with
get
a
it.
shtick, and
I
they love
get it.
him, and
I get
everybody
it.
adores
I'm just
him,
saying
you know.
that. But when in comparison to like
You got
an
it.
Andy North, Curtis Strange, they're more my type of guys.
You're right. But congratulations,
Yeah,
Justin Johnson.
congratulations.
Let's move on. First of all, our sponsor, Coriano Trucking. Rumor has it they may be relocating their corporate headquarters to upstate New York. So we're going to keep you guys posted. But, for all our fans in upstate New York, you can get it from point A to point B. Just give them a call.
You got it.
Good luck. And
Good luck.
if they're moving their headquarters. So, Coriano Trucking. Now of Haverstraw, New York, possibly Kingston, Binghamton, sometime.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So let's move on. This may seem unprecedented, but one of our loyal listeners, Mike Garvey from Naples, mentioned looking forward to hearing your recap of the NBA draft and the NBA in general. Lots of
Why was there an NBA draft this past week?
It was virtual. It was virtual. But here's my point when I'm thinking about this, and they were hyping it. March Madness was canceled last year, and that's where all these kids are showcased, right? So the first couple of picks were all freshmen, right? Anthony Edwards from Georgia, number 1 pick.
Not to be confused with ER's Anthony Edwards, Dr. Mark Green,
And he was in some other movie, too. Oh, he was in Top Gun.
Revenge of the Nerds, too.
Top Gun.
Yeah, and Revenge of the Nerds.
Right. But he went number 1. He was a freshman. Number 2 pick, James Wiseman from Memphis.
But
freshman.
Yeah. But
So we never saw these guys, is my point. That we never saw what kind of potential they could have. And, of course, LaMelo Ball, 3rd pick.
Yeah, I was happy to see his father front and center.
Or the guy that could beat Jordan in one-on-one.
But I tell you, Golden State with the number 2 pick, again, the ping pong ball felt pretty good for them. Obviously, they revamped the roster.
Big loss this
But
week.
yeah,
with,
a huge
Klay
loss.
Thompson.
Klay Thompson, unfortunately, again, is out for the year, and
Achilles this time.
suffered an Achilles injury. But this James Wiseman, again, as a freshman, kind of reminds me, I don't know, Ben Wallace or something, lookalike type of thing.
I got you.
Meaning, but he's super talented.
Aggressive player.
He's got super talent.
But Steve, my point was these kids are freshmen, and we never really saw them. That was going to be their showcase.
The fact that they're
March
freshmen,
Madness last year, and it didn't happen.
but the fact that they're freshmen has no bearing anymore. I mean,
Right. So it was Edwards, it was Wiseman, it was Ball, and this kid Patrick Williams from Florida State.
yeah.
Beast.
And the Knicks sat at 8, and Obi Toppin fell to them, and we're big fans of him.
Wooden Award winner from last season.
From Dayton, and
Dayton Flyer.
had a real good career there. We talked about him throughout the, before COVID hit. And I made the point, again, I work with some guys that are knowledgeable sports fans, and I'm making an assumption here, I guess. But I think the Knicks are in good hands with this Leon Rose.
I know. They made a lot of trades and stuff to move
No,
around.
listen, they also dumped all the garbage
And I'm going to
off
talk
the
about
roster,
Exactly.
and now they got $40 million in cap space, which I couldn't even tell you what $40 million means.
That doesn't mean anything in the NBA compared to what I want to talk
I don't know.
about.
Can
the
you
money
can you
that
sign one player for $40 million?
Exactly.
That type of thing.
a guy you've never even heard of.
But then, of course, that's going to open up the Westbrook to the Knicks thing. You talked about that last week. I'm gonna.
He's going to the Knicks.
I'm holding firm that Leon Rose is not going to touch Russell.
He's not buying this whole
No,
Westbrook
because he's
thing.
Listen, the guy is super talented. We all know that. From a talent standpoint, guy is phenomenal. He's just not a team guy. He's a me guy. He's a ball hog.
Exactly. And it gets in the way
and
of
why,
the whole
why
development
would, why
of the
would
team.
you why would you want that? Why would you want that? Let somebody else sign him. I do think Harden to the Nets is eventually going to happen.
All right, I'm glad you brought that
And
up.
I don't mean next week or I think it's going to happen.
All right, but I just want to close out the draft thing, with all this stuff going on. I think from a draft day perspective, I like what the 76ers did, right? They made a lot of changes, brought in Danny Green, so forth.
Yeah,
But
Doc Rivers is now their coach.
yep. Can they work with this? And I know you're not a big buyer of this guy Joel Embiid,
No,
but
I am not.
he is the foundation of that franchise.
Yes, because he's 9 feet tall. Right? I get it.
But the NBA, one thing I wanted to bring up, Steve, because we talked about this Harden thing, coming and saying, I want to be traded. I want to go play with Kyrie, and I want to go play with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, make it happen.
That's exactly
And
why
he
it's
has
going to
zero
happen.
leverage. No,
It's
I
going
don't-
to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's
Because you just answered the question.
But this
You
brings-
just answered the question. Harden comes in and says, I want to go to the Nets, make it happen.
and
Guess
they're gonna-
what? It's
and
going to
then-
happen.
But then Houston says, you know what? Sit on the bench, and we won't pay you $40 million.
No, they won't.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to play out.
No, it won't.
But my point is, we saw this happen with Anthony Davis, right? LeBron James said, "I want Anthony Davis."
Okay.
and then I could win the
Right.
NBA championship,
Right?
and it forced the hands.
Then why are we even debating that Harden is not going to go to the Nets then?
Because I don't think
The
that.
precedent has already been set
I just want to see
1,000
I
times.
want
by
to
the
see
way.
a team say, you know what, we're offering you $40 million, and you want to sit on the bench? Go ahead.
Listen, we got a great offer, James, from the Sacramento Kings.
Right, right. You can go play with.
Yeah.
yeah. I get
How about that?
Right. But the other guy, what are the other big news in the NBA? Gordon Hayward
I
from
was
the
just going
Boston
to say
Celtics.
that. Gordon Hayward is
Turned
opted
down
out.
what? $35 million?
Hey, that's his right to do it. Gordon Hayward is.
And you think he has that much left in the tank that he could demand? He's going to the Pacers.
It
right?
don't matter where he goes. You just said it. They turned down $30+ million. Okay, so yeah, obviously somebody's going to sign him.
For that kind of money, they're going to throw $100 million at him.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
and you're probably right, and I don't disagree.
and I like Gordon Hayward.
But I got to tell you, this was the start of free agency in the NBA. This 2 days ago or whatever.
Right.
I'm seeing the banners go across. They're paying these guys tens of millions of dollars, and you've never heard of them.
What?
Where is this money coming from?
TV.
TV.
NBA is a global business. It is. The fans in China and I'm telling you.
But Steve, my point is, they signed these guys, and I can't even think of the names because I've never heard of them. 40, 60, 80, $100 million.
Yeah.
Where is this money coming from?
I don't care.
That's right, Senator. Yeah, family had a lot of buffers.
A lot of buffers.
Anyway, enough of the NBA. But here was an interesting fact. First round, no Duke, no North Carolina,
Yeah.
no Kentucky, and no Kansas.
I think Cole Anthony from North Carolina was the highest North Carolina guy.
Yeah, he
But to
went
your-
late,
But
mid-second
to your,
round. or
but
something.
I know. But to your point, there was no man-child. J.R. Reed, the man-child, J.R. Reed.
He's a Windex guy. Cleans the boards.
But to your point, there was no Duke, North Carolina staple.
First
guy.
time in like 30 years.
Yeah, but I want to get back to it. We just glossed over the Knicks, but again, they cut 5 pieces of garbage that they had to sign last year just to even field the team. So, it's unfortunate you won't see Bobby Portis anymore with the Knicks, or
Oh, God.
So my point about Leon Rose is I like
Me
so
too.
far what he's doing.
Me too. I thought it was
Again,
a great pick.
he
Toppin
ha-
is going to
he-
be a stud. in
He
the
has to
NBA.
flush the toilet of what he inherited.
Yep.
And I really think Leon Rose is the type of guy. I said this, I'm not sure if I said it on the show last week or not, but Donnie Walsh, again, the Carmelo Anthony thing. Donnie Walsh is a basketball guy, And Dolan said, I want Carmelo Anthony, and Donnie Walsh said, not on my watch. And guess what? He walked out the door.
Right.
But I think Leon Rose has said, stay the hell out of the business like you do with the Rangers, and we shall see.
And you think Dolan can stay out of the business?
I think he has to, because it's now going on 25
I'm
years
saying
of absolute
he definitely
ridiculous.
wants Russell Westbrook because it puts a marquee name.
Oh, he can walk around his office going, I want Westbrook. Jim, calm down. Take your pill. Okay.
You hired me to do this.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So we shall see.
Let's see. So let's move on to our second segment about Major League Baseball.
Baseball.
Right? First of all,
Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside. I don't believe what I just saw. Anyway, a couple of things. The Hall of Fame newbies came out, right? Ridiculous. And we talked about it. Torrey Hunter,
No.
Mark Burley.
No.
Okay, now it gets a little tougher at the game show here. Lightning round.
Oh.
Roger Clemens,
Not yet.
Barry Bonds.
Not yet.
What's it going to take to get him in? Another 2 years? I mean,
Well, in
you
their
know,
favor, one of our icons.
either their fingerprints were on the gun or they weren't.
I mean, in their favor, one of our icons we notable passed a couple weeks back was Joe Morgan.
Yep.
Joe Morgan was probably the staunchest guy of keeping these guys out. But I just think through attrition over the years, you see that their vote totals are climbing, not significantly, but trending.
But it
it's
could
going
happen this year, next year.
No,
or
I
within
don't.
2 years.
I don't think it's going to be this year.
How about Kurt Schilling?
Well, you and I had a quick debate before the show. Kirk Schilling, I think, will get in this year. I think he.
Does he warrant Hall of Fame status? Over the
My
bloody
answer
spot?
is Kurt Schilling will get in this year. Does
Okay.
he warrant it? That's another debate.
Okay.
If anybody out there has a replica of the bloody sock, I'm trying to get that for my wall.
No, that's in the Smithsonian.
Yes, it's in the
The Louvre.
But I tell you what, Kurt Schilling come playoff time.
Hall of Fame.
Well,
We know they're letting mediocre guys into the
Well,
Hall
put
of
it
Fame.
put it this way: we've talked about Bob Gibson and Whitey Ford and Seaver passing
Is it
away.
that? Is it? That's Hall of Fame. Does Kurt
Well,
Schilling?
let me finish. That's Hall of Fame. Okay, so here we are.
Yep.
We just opened this discussion with Torrey Hunter,
No.
Mark Burley,
No.
but that's where we're at.
Nick Swisher.
Hey man, hey man, I'd love to be in the hall, man, but I just don't think I warrant it, man. I think I just want to be part of the group, man.
I'm just happy to be on the ballot.
Hey man.
Gotcha. So, all right.
That's where we're at. So Kurt Schilling, to me, is going to get in.
I think he's getting in, no question.
Yeah, he's
about
gonna
it,
get
but
in this year.
Does he fall into the Gibson
Well,
Seaver era?
No, that's the point.
I got it.
That's the point. But Schilling's vote totals have trended upward by where this is the year I'm sure he gets over the hump. Because who the hell else are they going to vote for? Really? Now, did Mark Burley, for a perfect game and no hitter?
But they still haven't. They still
Okay.
haven't inducted Derek Jeter in the official because of the pandemic. So
Right.
whoever gets elected, and I think you're right. Schilling gets in. Bonds, Clemens,
And then
does
there'll be
not.
the veterans thing with, God knows. So. You know what I mean?
Right, Mudcat Grant.
Yeah, Mudcat Grant and
All right, listen.
Buck Owens.
Before we move off baseball, a couple other things. First of all, Tommy Lasorda.
He's on.
He's
I think we'll be notable passing him
probably next week,
probably next week.
right?
He's going to have a bowl of pasta with Frank Sinatra before he heads out,
Sauce or gravy?
When he gets up there, he'll have dinner with Don Rickles and Sinatra.
And so a couple other notes from Major League Baseball. Robinson Cano suspended for the upcoming season.
Oh, what a shame.
Performance. No, he can work it out with his agent Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After leaving New York, when he could have gone to the Hall of Fame, but he went to Seattle. And one last thing, Theo Epstein to the Mets?
Oh, that's what
That's going to happen, right?
we were waiting for that,
Right.
right? So the guy again,
Not that he needs to solidify
the
his...
gentleman I work with, they're in my day job. Huge Mets fan. We're sitting there. He's at his desk. I'm at my desk, and he's checking all. He does the social media thing. Like,
Okay.
Not that I just don't do it to that extent.
And we talked already
Theo
about...
Epstein resigned as the Cubs president. I said, "You're kidding." I said, "When is the announcement that he's now going to be the New York Mets team president?"
He's having dinner with Steve Cohen at Peter Luger's.
Theo wants to take a year off.
Exactly.
You can put this in the bank. This
Yes.
is happening.
I agree.
I don't know when it's happening.
When I saw it, that's the first thing.
And guess
I
what?
said.
It may take a year. It may. Theo probably deserves to go sail around the world.
Yes.
He's 40 freaking 6 now, or 48. I think
a kid.
He's either 48 or 46.
He's a kid.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I keep saying it. The New York Mets are going to be
Formidable.
a force to reckon with
In the next
And
3 years.
And guess what? I think they may surpass the New York Yankees in about 3 or 5 years in popularity around New York City.
Because of all Steve Cohen money, right?
Because Hal Steinbrenner is not going to go dollar for dollar with Steve Cohen. You know why? Because he
He
can't.
can't. Right. This is hedge fund money we're talking,
That's
right?
hedge fund money we're talking about.
Okay.
But I want to finish on this. So, because things are looking so bright for the Mets, they're also getting a little ridiculous, in my opinion. So much so,
In
they
what aspect?
actually think they're going to take DJ LeMahieu from the New York Yankees.
Well, you know what?
It ain't happening because he's not leaving. We are not allowing him to exit 161st and River Avenue.
So we're talking
It is not
Trout
happening.
money to keep him.
I
in
don't
New
know what
York.
it's going to
He
cost.
turned down his option.
I don't.
He turned down
We are
his
paying
option.
him what the market deserves.
All we have to hope is that he wants to be a
He
Yankee.
wants to be a New York Yankee.
That's key. Because he's going to get the money wherever he goes.
You will not have DJ LeMahieu.
Okay.
He's mine. He's mine. All mine. Mine.
You think about it. Listen, if they get Lindor, you got to figure something to do with Torres, and then you got LeMahieu,
We
and
will.
you got Lindor. So,
Listen, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
But DJ LeMahieu is not leaving the Bronx. It's not happening.
Steve, money,
And-
money trumps all. You know you.
Well, then Hal's going to step up on because I've talked about it. This is the type of kid you want representing your franchise.
Yep. Okay, I agree. I think that's a guy you can't let go. But turning down that option was big.
That's his right to do it. I mean,
Agreed.
that's
It's
business.
the
That's
same
good.
as the
I get it.
NBA.
I get it.
If you think you can get more money somewhere else, go for it. So Major League Baseball, that was,
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and before we blink, they'll be back out on the field.
Yep. So let's move on, Steve. Our next segment, of course, is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut.
It is.
And, hope they're doing all well during this pandemic and so forth.
I'm
But
sure they are.
if you want to buy a Toyota, buy it from them because they'll take care of you and you'll become family. So listen, college football. How about this? Big games this weekend.
Yeah.
And when I say big, I'm talking Big Ten. Let's get right into it. Ohio State.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, before we get into that, the Clemson game was canceled today. Again, this COVID thing is wreaking havoc on college football.
You know what?
They're going to reschedule it,
I
but
did my picks this morning, and breaking news was around 9 o'clock or so, I think.
Yep.
And, I read an article about the state of Florida State football. I found it fascinating.
when were they at 20?
But we used to mock out Bobby Bowden, like but he was there for 34 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and he built this thing. Anybody that knows me knows. I always broke Bobby Bowden's chops, right?
A little unscrupulous, actually.
Well, you know what? Not to the level of what it is today. But the
You don't
point is,
think?
he won 2 national championships.
He could have been a founding father.
Florida
of
State
corrupt
was the
recruiting.
perennial, number 1, number 2. Florida State, Miami.
Miami, yeah,
Right?
We got it.
Jimbo Fisher takes over.
Ran it into the ground.
We could do a whole show on Jimbo Fisher, okay? And why he left and all this other crap. But you know what? Florida State is not coming out of this anytime soon. I can tell you that.
Well, Miami hasn't been there in
Well, the
years
reason
either.
I bring up Florida State is because the Clemson is playing Florida State. But now they're not. But you know what the spread was? This
20.
is Florida State,
20.
35. That's the state of Florida State
That's
football.
like Alcorn State playing
That's
Ohio
the state
State.
of Florida State football.
I'm not sure Miami football is that
Miami's
much
7.
better.
Miami's 7-1.
The Eric King, right? He's the
Hey.
quarterback. He's having a good year.
Coach Diaz has a little COVID,
So he's on the sideline. So he won't be coaching.
no. But Miami is coming back. I think this Manny Diaz is a good coach.
Right.
But they, the shift gears, big game. Whoever would have thought Ohio State and Indiana in a football game,
Yep.
2 top 10
In a
teams,
long time.
not Big 10, 2 top 10 ranked teams,
I got you.
right?
Indiana's surprised week after week, but now it's not a surprise. But
No.
they're going against the big boys today. What do you think?
I
I
think
think it's a 20-point spread.
it's a 20.5 point spread, and actually, I took the Indiana Hoosiers not to win. I think they'll be competitive.
Keep it within 16,
Yeah.
you think?
Really, listen, I can see like a 40-23, something like that game, that type of thing.
I'm thinking I've been watching Indiana and watching them closely, and I know how great Ohio State is. I think they may keep it within 10.
Well,
10
that's
or
the
under.
point.
That's my 10 or under.
I think it'll be. I think
and I'm
Ohio.
not a point spread guy.
I
as
think
you know.
Ohio State will have to work
Yep.
today to get their victory, and they will. But Indiana, hey, I give them credit. They're pretty good.
We haven't seen Indiana on the map since, remember Matt Del Vecchio or from
Matt
Notre
Leve-
Dame.
Matt-
Lavecchio.
Well, Matt Lavecchio is a
at Notre Dame.
Bergen Catholic kid in the 90s,
Yep.
mid-90s, and he went to Notre Dame.
And transferred to Indiana.
And he played at Notre Dame. He started at Notre Dame
As a freshman.
or number 10,
as a freshman.
and due to injury.
I think, was it Tony Rice or somebody
Nah,
like that?
Tony Rice was before that.
Yeah.
Might have been Ron Powis or something during that era. But
Yep.
Matt Lavecchio transferred, I think, for his senior year to Indiana.
He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's been some Indiana guys in the NFL. Vaughn Dunbar, like a name like that, guys like that.
Not many.
Yeah, but we're not talking the General Bobby Knight on the sideline at Indiana.
We know it is a hoop school, of course, but this is big.
All right, so in our backyard today, the reeling Michigan Wolverines come to Piscataway, New Jersey.
What do you think?
And the reeling Michigan Wolverines are a 12-point favorite against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
On the road in Piscataway.
I
right?
think Michigan is going to slaughter Rutgers today.
I'm going to say that Rutgers holds their own and Michigan barely squeaks out with a win.
I wouldn't be
That's how
surprised.
bad they are right now.
I'm going to say
Quarterback situation's a mess. Coaching situation's a mess.
I think Michigan's going to lay wood today in Rutgers.
Okay, we'll see. And one other big game, right? Wisconsin Northwestern. Northwestern's kind of like Indiana. Where'd they come from? They're beating everybody, but
One of our favorite football players for me, Pat Fitzgerald.
still the head coach.
Oh yeah, he's never leaving Northwestern. Linebacker, right? Captain that Rose Bowl team. And he's now been cracked. He's got to be the head coach for at least 10 years now.
Yeah, love that guy.
Love Pat Fitzgerald.
Big time.
And they're 4-0.
What do you like today, Wisconsin?
Oh, I think Wisconsin's gonna. I mean, look what Wisconsin did to Michigan last week. Absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah.
And what do we think of when we think of Wisconsin?
Offensive line.
Offensive line. They had 338 pounds.
Exactly.
And had,
Eating tacos in
they
the
got
huddle.
the beef.
Yep.
Where's the beef? It's in Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin
Yeah.
to
This kid, was it
roll.
Graham Mortz or something? Mets?
They got a lot. They got the beef.
And they always have a running back, right? The history of Wisconsin football, right? Well, most recently, Jonathan Taylor,
Sure.
of course.
Yeah.
But of course, Ron Dane has the trophy.
Yeah.
You know.
So the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever. It's the Pac-10 for us.
I'm looking. I think Northwestern gets a wake up call playing Wisconsin today. They're going to get rolled.
All right, yeah, I'm all on in Wisconsin.
Yep.
So the big Pac-12 game, Pac-10, is Chip Kelly going back to Oregon tonight. What do you think of that? You think
What, they hired Chip Kelly today?
UCLA? He's the head coach of UCLA. Is playing at Oregon.
Oh, at Oregon, yeah. Oh, God. Chip Kelly has done nothing since
Mario Cristobal is the head coach of Oregon, who's a great coach.
he was a solid player at Miami.
You better believe it. And so anyway, Chip Kelly comes back to Oregon,
Yep.
and I'm going to go with
UCLA.
I'm going with the Ducks. UCLA's 1-1.
Oh, 100% I'm going with the Ducks
Yeah.
today. No question.
But my point is, let's see what Chip Kelly's all about.
Yep. But listen, before we move off of football, high school football is happening, right? In northern New Jersey. We mentioned Bergen Catholic, St. Joe's, Don Bosco. Up in the air, seasons, there is a Thanksgiving Day game, St. Joe's versus Del Barton
Wow.
in Montvale.
Yeah.
Because, the championship season's not happening. But,
You can't have more than 10 alumni gathering together in one parking lot spot throughout the parking lot, would be my guess.
And what happened today, right? Your son's football game was postponed because of coronavirus.
So my son, we were supposed to have our last football game today. It was supposed to be Ramapo versus Wayne Hills, and for the Monahans.
Quite prominent.
Quite prominent, being three of our nephews were stars there,
Yep.
and so on and so forth. But there was some COVID at the high school, and the high school shut down for 2 weeks now, and my son has to quarantine for 10 days because the freshman team got exposed,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. But the bottom line is the
It's
season's
happening
over.
all over sports.
But it's happening all over. And like you said, the Clemson game got canceled and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
And this just doesn't end.
So before we wrap up with football, here's our NFL thing, right? Nothing breaking, right? COVID's starting to rear its ugly head in some venues, but the games are being played. From the NFL perspective, right? Drew Brees, he got hurt.
He got
Taysom
hurt.
Hill, now he's the guy.
He didn't get hurt. He got really hurt.
And you think really, they're all questioning how could Jameis Winston not take over for Drew Brees? I think because Sean Payton's the quarterback and he knows he can't win with
There's
Jameis
no
Winston.
questioning on this show. Are you kidding me?
Right?
People were asking me on Monday and Tuesday, who do you think's going to start, Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston? I said to him, do I even have to answer this question?
Right,
Okay, I will.
We've seen
Taysom Hill.
We've seen the Jameis Winston movie before.
Oh, my
so.
God. Please.
But listen, let's real quick get to my two picks, right? My two picks for the week. And your Dallas Cowboys are playing the Vikings.
Yeah,
today.
they're back at work.
Right, so a resurgent Viking team. About everyone wanted Mike Zimmer's head 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now they're going to the Super Bowl. Right, Bears were great.
Eh,
They get killed 3 weeks in a row. They're not so good.
They've righted the ship.
Right, so I'm taking the Vikings over the Dallas Cowboys.
You are.
I think the
Ooh.
Cowboys are not.
That's a stretch.
I'm not sure they got enough in the tank anymore.
That's a stretch.
Cowboys on the road.
I'm taking the Vikings.
And here's my other game: Cleveland, Philadelphia. Philadelphia, if they can't beat the Giants, they can't beat the
They
Browns.
can't beat Baker Mayfield, who hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in
But-
2 weeks.
And
But you know what's weird?
Miles Garrett's out for
Do you
COVID
understand? Do
production.
you see what Cleveland's record is? They can't believe it. They got like 6 wins. They're like
know.
6-3.
I know.
Do you know what the Chargers' record is? Top of your head?
2-7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been in so many close games.
I know. They've actually.
They're not a 2-7 team. So my other pick,
We say that
my other pick I like is that the New York Jets are flying to Los Angeles to take on
Chargers.
Justin Herbert and a 2-7 Charger team.
They get crushed.
35-year-old Joe Flacco will be at the helm for the Jets.
Yep.
I think Justin Herbert's going to throw for, I'll go 340 or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will take the Chargers.
Me too. Okay, so that's
I think that's like the biggest layup of the
And what's
of
your
the
second
weekend.
game?
That.
What's your other lock?
I like the Cowboys.
Oh, you like the Cowboys?
No, I
against
like the
Vikings?
Cowboys to get their asses kicked by the Vikings, and I like the Jets to get their asses kicked by the Chargers.
Okay.
Those are my 2 picks.
Enough to cover for the NBA. Enjoy the games.
Sure.
Listen, our final thing is we bring up notables, right? Notable
Yes.
passings. Been a couple in sports,
C.
and one I'm going to bring up first because he was a Sunoco NFL player book, right? Stamp. Jake Scott, right?
Oh.
Super Bowl MVP. Horrible circumstances. Falls down a set of stairs. Never recovers. 72.
I mean, Jake Scott, my memory of Jake Scott, obviously, is, the no-name defense. Or
Two picks in the Super Bowl.
Right, against the Washington Redskins.
Right.
Right?
Who he finished his career with, by the way.
Yeah, maybe a cup of coffee, but Jake Scott is a Miami Dolphin.
Yep. Class act, too, by the
Outstanding
way.
football player. And, I just remember Jake Scott as a kid watching the Dolphins and being featured prominently on that team. Him, Dick Anderson in the backfield. And
Great quote from Dick Anderson said, if I had to be in a foxhole, it was Jake Scott I'd be in
bet.
a foxhole with.
I bet.
And that's a big statement.
Totally. I bet. So, it's a shame. 72 years old.
Yep.
And I was very sad to hear the news that Jake
Big time.
Scott passed away. So notable passing. Jake
And we
Scott.
were young when we watched that game, but we remember it now.
Oh, absolutely. I literally can replay it live in my head his interceptions in the Super Bowl. The game was 14-7
Yep.
against the Skins.
It was awesome.
The good news for the Dolphins was Billy Kilmer was the quarterback for the Redskins.
Single
bar, red nose,
Out all night.
totally
night
had
before.
doers all night.
Doors in the huddle. But we loved Billy the Kid, though. We loved him. But Jake Scott, absolute notable passing.
No
in
doubt.
sports and
But
modern
another
life.
Dolphin that's gone down. This past year we've talked about Jim Langer,
Yeah.
right, center. We talked about Nick Bonacani.
And the matriarch of them all, Don
And of
Shula.
course, the Dolphins right now are wearing Shula patches on their jerseys. But hey, it's
R.I.P. Jake Scott.
It's sobering.
MVP in Super Bowl.
That is correct.
What number was that? I don't know. They were undefeated. Great season. And how about another name? Lindy McDaniel from Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And again, another guy who played, 19, almost 20 years in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, Lindy.
Had a pretty good record,
You
by
know
the
what?
way.
Lindy McDaniel had a very, very good career. Played St. Louis Cardinals.
Giants,
Right,
Royals,
but
everybody.
I read, I did some research on Lindy, and
84.
he actually made an all-star team. He was a starter originally, and then went to the bullpen, and his career record was 141 and 119.
Yeah.
And his earned run was 3.5, maybe 3.5, something,
Yeah.
3.4, something.
Yeah, it might be
that ain't
3,
bad at all.
No.
And we remember him obviously as a New York Yankee during the lean years, if you will,
With that high leg
with
kick.
the high leg kick.
We
and-
try to emulate in the front yard.
Oh, didn't try. That was one of my perfect impressions growing up, of course. And but Lindy McDaniel, we remember as a New York Yankee.
Good career, though. Played for at least 5 teams.
Yeah, and I saw a quote from his daughter. He was a really good guy. He became a reverend, later in life and
Oh,
stuff.
jeez, yeah,
And,
Reverend.
oh, gee, yeah, Reverend McDaniel there. But, listen, by all accounts, a gentleman, a great Major League Baseball career,
No
a
doubt.
fine guy,
No doubt.
and, Hall of Fame, obviously absolutely not, but Hall of Fame person, and R.I.P. Lindy McDaniel.
You bet. And listen, Steve, before we sign off,
Wait, one more. We missed it a couple weeks ago, but an ex-New York Ranger hockey guy, Big Chief Jim Nielsen, passed
Nielsen,
away.
you brought this up before the show.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I don't remember him, like a Ross Gilbert kind of thing.
But nonetheless, Ranger fans, and of the 100 greatest Rangers,
He's up there?
Some fan poll, he came in number 42.
bad.
Big defenseman, this, that, and the other thing, and played from 1962 to 79. Played, with the California Golden Seals after, the Cleveland Barons. You know what I mean? So
Golden Seals had the Oakland A's uniforms
Yeah,
back then,
right.
remember?
But you know what? I just wanted to make mention of that to our hockey audience and Ranger fans. Big Chief Jim Nielsen passed away a couple weeks ago.
Big
And
nickname, Big Chief.
We omitted him last week, and I wanted to mention that.
Okay.
He's absolutely a notable passing.
No doubt. Thank you. I just wanted to give a shout out to one of our loyal listeners, James Walsh, who became a grandfather last week, and of course sent us an email at sportswithmonoandmono.com and attached a photo of Grandpa Al Lewis. He became a grandfather. Logan James entered the world a couple weeks ago, and
Correct.
congratulations, Mr. Walsh.
Logan James. Where have I heard that name before?
Well, you may have heard it because that's what my grandson's name is. But he couldn't be more ecstatic, and we couldn't be more happy for him. James, enjoy your grandson.
Sports with Mono and Mono. We like to give back to the community, and we're very proud of the fact now that we now have a dog out there named Sir Winston, from our loyal listener Corey Cole, who won the Kentucky Derby a couple years ago.
Yep.
They bought a dog and named it Sir Winston.
Excellent.
And we're happy that
And now we have a Logan James.
we have a Logan James. Jim, I spoke to Jim during the week, and couldn't be happier for him and his family. And we extend our heartiest congratulations to your son, your family, and
You bet.
And congratulations on being a grandfather.
And I'm going to give one more shout out before
So,
we
what year will Logan James be drafted?
It's still remains to be seen. We haven't figured out whether he's going to be a hockey player or a football player.
If I know the grandfather, I think he's going to want him to be playing in the Bronx for the New York Yankees.
Let's see.
He'll settle for being a New York Ranger, but
We'll see.
Congratulations, Jim.
But listen, one more shout out, Steve, before we wrap up the show. And I brought this up on a show about a month ago. One of my dear friends from California, Tom Pugh,
Yeah.
had some heart issues. Successfully recovering right now from a heart transplant from last week. And he's doing great. And
Outstanding.
unbelievable how they could even do things like this in
Yeah.
the medical world right now.
Good.
But one of our loyal fans, and he means so much to me, and he's on the road to recovery.
Good. Outstanding.
His
Good
recovery is 3 months in Palo Alto. How tough is that to take? Huh?
news. All right.
So, big Notre Dame fan, but he's a dear friend of mine, and he's on the road to recovery. Amazing. And we're talking about, we go way back to Barney Clark, right? The first heart transplant. This is 45 years later.
I was thinking of Barney, by the way.
But congratulations,
You're right,
Tom,
though.
and we're very happy and happy for your family and so forth, and speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
That's it, Steve. This is our show for the week, right?
That's it? That's it?
I could go for days. But anyway, listen, again, we always bring it up because we want you to send us some emails at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And speedy recovery to Jim Smith, one of our loyal listeners
Sure.
from Westchester.
Hey, Jim.
Recovering from, some kind of surgery.
From what? The Dodgers winning the World Series?
He's very happy about that, by the way.
I would imagine.
I'm sure that's helping his recovery. But thanks for joining us, everybody, and enjoy your weekend. It's beautiful in the Northeast, right?
It is.
Unprecedented 60 degrees.
It's nice out. I'll grant you that.
But enjoy the weekend, and there's a lot going on. And like I said, we'd love to hear from you. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll see you on the next show.
Very good.
Bye.
Bye.